Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. It's Tag Tuesday, so I wanted to come to you with a tag, and today's tag is going to be the Reading Goals tag, and the original was done by Rosie Cockshut, and I got to be honest, I cannot remember. I wrote these down a week or two ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I cannot remember who I saw this video or this tag on, who did the video. So I will try to find that and leave it down in the description below. And I'll leave a link to the original. But this is the Reading Goals tag. So the very first question in this Reading Goals tag is tag some friends. All right, so I gotta do that right off the get-go. So I am going to tag the Bookish Bryants. I am going to tag my good friend Peg over at the History Shelf. I'm going to tag Alan at the Lonely Bookshelf. And let's see here. Jason Harrigan. Let's see if Jason will do this one. But let's go to the second question. So question number 2, or really actually the first question, because the tag some friends is not a question. But anyway, number 2, do you set reading goals? Why or why not? So for me, I did not used to, set reading goals. I never really kept track of stuff. I mean, I would write down what I read, but I didn't have like a end goal in mind. But a couple of years back, we started a little program with our middle school, and we've been trying to get them to think about what does it take to be successful. And goal setting is one of those things that if you look at successful people in life, goal setting is one of those things that most of them do. And so we were trying to teach the kids about goal setting, and teaching them about short-term goals versus long-term goals. And you got to do your short-term goals in order to get the long-term goals. And we did things like with sports. We talked about it as a really easy example. But when we went to do it as teachers, because we were trying to practice what we were preaching, and we were setting our goals out there for the kids to see, and we were tracking it for them so they could see that we did goal setting as well. What I did my goal in was reading. And I originally had, and maybe I shouldn't go into, because this will get into some of the other answers, but I originally had set a goal of reading, I think it was 25 books in a school year. And I guess I had not paid attention to how much I was reading, because I destroyed that goal the very first year. And so I was showing them, once you meet a goal, you don't just become complacent, then you reestablish your goal, or you analyze what's been going on, and then just reset that goal and push your boundaries a little bit. And so the whole reason I set reading goals was because of my middle school, trying to set a good example for them. So question number 3, are your goals things that you absolutely aim to complete, or more general themes you want to focus on? And so I guess for mine, it's more general themes, reading more, becoming a more well-balanced reader, and that kind of stuff. And so when I set my goals, I set a book limit, but I also have in the back of my head, as I'm thinking about my yearly goal for myself, are there some classics I'm going to pick up along with my nonfiction? Am I going to pick up a few mysteries in there? Am I going to broaden my horizons as a reader? So my goal is pretty general. Read X amount of books in the school year, if we're talking about my school goal. And I don't I want to complete it, but if I don't get to it, that's okay. Because that's also part of, teaching kids about goal setting is, you're not going to meet every single goal, and that's okay. You reestablish your short-term goals so that maybe the next time you can hit that long-term goal. So I do want to complete it, but if I don't, there is a learning, lesson that goes along with it. Fortunately, I've hit all my reading goals every year, as far as for the school year. Now, my BookTube goals, some of my TBRs I have not hit, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. It does not bother me any. All right, so question number 4. When in the year do you set new goals? Okay, so there's various times in the year when I set new goals. So originally, like I was saying with the school goals, I set those goals at the very beginning of the school year. And I usually do that as I'm talking with the kids about goal setting, because that's one of our, when we're teaching them to be leaders at the beginning of the school year, and then throughout the year we have lessons that, kind of go into those ideas of how to become a leader. This is one of the first ones that we do, one of the first lessons. And so I set that one pretty early. I also set goals at the beginning of the new year. So you guys have followed the channel for a couple years now. You'll see that I do a TBR for the year 2021, TBR for the year 2022, and so on and so forth. And so I set new goals for my BookTube channel at the beginning of the year, and then I also set I got little mini goals, March Mystery Madness or March of the Mammoths. I'll set a goal for what I want to get read within those different months where we've got reading programs going on. I also set a goal for summer when I get to summer, because I've got June and July and a little bit of August where I have a little bit more time to read because there's no school. And so I set a new goal. How many do I want to read? 20 books during the summer. And that's what I read. I think that's what I read. Maybe it was 19 or 20 books is what I read last summer. And so I set a goal for myself for the summertime. And that's really good because it keeps me from napping so much. Anyway, number 5, do you have any long-standing goals that you aim for every year? If yes, what are they? So as I said, I set a yearly TBR, and that's a goal for myself where I pick out 12 books. I think of one big book for every month of the year. And then I'm reading several other titles within the month, but I have those 12 books that I want to get through. And usually I also throw in at least 5 fiction books that I want to get through that I have not done yet. And so I do set those long-standing goals. Another long-standing goal for me is to read some of these. So like I've got The Ordeal of the Union by Alan Nevins. That it was originally published as an 8-volume set. I have it in 4 volumes, but I have goals to get through these big sets. And then like Sidney Blumenthal's big old series on Lincoln, his biographies, the Shelby Foote's Civil War trilogy. So I have some long-term goals to get through those major works on the Civil War and Lincoln and other topics. Excuse me. Question number 6. What type of goal has been the most successful by whatever metric you chose in the past? So my most successful goal is probably just my overall reading goal that I set at school, because I track that, and I will come in on Monday and I have a little printout that I do that has it has a list of all the books I've read for the year. It has a bar graph to show where my goal was and then how many books have I read to that point. And then I have another bar graph that shows all of the books I'm currently reading, how many pages there are, and how far have I gotten in the book. And I will update that pretty much every morning when I get to school. It's the first thing I do. And then every other day, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I will reprint that list so that the kids can see that I'm tracking my goals. This is how far I've got. And I've seen a few kids who actually go to that list to look for books to read on history, and they'll ask me questions about the books. And so that's been a lot of fun to be able to share my reading with them. And so that has probably been the most successful in multiple ways. I'm keeping track of my reading. It's been an effective way of keeping track of my reading, and it's been a good example for the kids. But probably more importantly, it's been successful just because I'm able to share with the kids, not just visually, but then talk about those books and be able to put those books on their radar. And I've had a couple of kids this year who have, as we go through like the American Revolution, I'll mention pretty good pieces of work about the Revolution. And I've had a couple of kids this year that have stop me in the middle of class. What's the name of that book and the author again? And they've wrote them down. And these are middle school kids, and they're reading adult books. And one example, I had a kid who is reading The Indispensable Man by James Thomas Flexner, the biography of George Washington, a biography on George Washington. And that was so exciting to see him want to read that. And so anyway, I think that for me, that is my measure of success, that I'm passing on that love of history to my kids. Excuse me. What type of goal has not gone to plan? What went wrong? So I set those yearly TBRs, in January, very beginning of January, and I have yet to meet one of those TBRs. I get a good chunk of the books read, but I get my reading plan gets off track, and I'll start reading a bunch of other books, and I'll set that original plan based on what my interests are there in January. Well, by the time I get to July, August, September, my interests have changed a little bit, and I'm not as interested in reading, a certain book that I wanted to read back in January. And so I have yet to, so I've set, this 2022 TBR is my third yearly TBR that I've set for BookTube. And the first two I haven't met them yet. And so this is my third try at it. We'll see if I can, if third time's a charm and I can hit my TBR list this year. So far, so good. Number 8, do you change your goals based on how the last reading year has gone? Okay, I don't typically necessarily base it on that. I know that since I started keeping track of my number of books that I've read at school, it started out at 20, and then the next year's 30, then 35, and now I've got it set at 40. In the past couple years, 3 years, I think, I've had it set at 40, and I've hit that pretty easy. But there has been one time where I was just barely over it, another time where I blew by it, and I have blown by it this year. I'm already on 43, and I still got almost half the, a good chunk of the school year left. And so I don't know if I want to try to up that to 45 or 50 or something like that. I'm not real sure yet, but I do adjust it a little bit as far as that goes. And I have adjusted my plans on a yearly basis based on the different reading programs going on BookTube. So like last year, March Mystery Madness, I put it into my reading goals to read more mysteries. And I read several. I mean, for me, it was several. Maybe not for you guys, because you guys read a whole lot more mysteries than I do. But I thoroughly enjoyed them, and I started reading them more. And so that was really good for me. March of the Mammoths was good because it got me to pick up a big book that I had said I wanted to, and I just didn't. And so, yeah, I do. I guess I do change my plans. Maybe I do on a yearly, on a yearly basis based on how the previous year went. So number 9, do you track your reading goals? If so, how? So yes, I do track my reading goals. As I said, I have a printout that I tape up on the wall at school, and it has the list of books that I've read, the number, where it's at, what my goal was, and it's in a bar graph. And then in another bar graph, I keep track of the total number of pages in the book, and then just how far have I gotten in the book. And it has all the books I'm currently reading. And so, yes, I do keep track of that goal. And then I have on a Google Doc a list of all of the books that I've read since I think I started that in the summer of 2017. I had done it on paper before, but paper gets lost, I've found out. So I have probably at least 5 years worth of reading before that I tracked, and I don't know where the lists are, or they're incomplete lists. But this list I have not lost because it's on Google Docs. So I do keep track of it in that way. And the last question on this tag, number 10, has any of this changed a lot over the course of your reading life? The thing that has probably changed a lot, or changed the most over the course of my reading life, is I seem to be not as, I don't know if it's not as busy, as I was in earlier years, or if I've just gotten more like at work in more of a rhythm with things, and I know, exactly how much time things take in order to get them done, so I'm able to plan my reading better and get more books read. So I think I'm more consistent on a larger number of books, if that makes any sense. Um, and also let's see, how do I say this? In the last 10, 12 years, I've built my collection based on what I'm teaching. Actually, I've been doing that since the beginning, but I've really, the last 10, 12 years, really hit on that. And I've built this collection up. And so my reading life has changed because I am reading a lot more nonfiction than I did early on in my life, where I read more fiction. My reading has more of a point to it in what I'm reading, why I'm reading it. And I enjoy it. I don't want you to think I'm doing it just because I'm at work, but I really enjoy reading nonfiction. It's my favorite type of book to read. I enjoy fiction as well, but I just know that as I have changed my reading goals and I want to read so many books on the World War II, Civil War, Revolution, whatever it is, that has changed my reading life. It's changed my book buying and changed my knowledge in class. I'm able to share a lot more stuff with the kids, and I think they really like that part where I'm sharing those stories that I learned, sharing the book titles and who wrote them, and then just what I got out of them and how it changed my thinking. And so I'm being maybe an active historian, amateur historian anyway. And so anyway, yeah, that's my the reading goals tag. And I tagged a few people there at the beginning, but I invite everybody to do this tag. It's a good one. It makes you think about your goals and just where are you at with your goal setting, because that's a great leadership quality is being able to set your goals and go meet your goals. So be a good example to everyone and go do that. Share your answers with everyone. So I hope everyone's doing well. Hope your weather is good. Our weather here in Southwest Iowa has been beautiful the last couple of days. Been able to wear just a light jacket because the temperatures are been in the upper 40s. I don't know if it hit 50 or not. It may have hit 50. I don't know, but it's been really nice. And I know if it stays like this, we're going to start doing some of our baseball throw with our pitchers, catchers. We're going to start doing that outside. And that's absolutely wonderful to be able to do that in the month of February. But then again, we live in the Midwest, so that might change tomorrow. But anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate all the new subscribers and just really appreciate that. Thank you guys. And so until next time, happy reading.